What is up, YouTube? I'm Gal74 here, bringing you week 8 of the APM. This week we are taking on Thriller, coach of the Iowa Jolteons. We are going into this game with a 6-1 record, while my opponent is going into this game with a 3-4 record. Now, before we start this, I want to mention a few things. First off, make sure to go check out Thriller in the description below. He is also uploading the APM videos alongside like Puffer was last week. So again, make sure to go check him out in the description below. I'm going to plug him down there. Secondly, there has been a little bit of a change to the playoff picture. Originally, it was just the top 4 teams make it, and I think the first seed faced the 4th seed, and the second seed faced the 3rd seed. It has been tweaked now to the point where 6 people make the playoffs, and the top 2 teams get a bye week, and the other 4 battle to face the other 2 teams. So that's how it is now. 6 people make it as opposed to 4, which I think is a little bit more fair considering there is 12 people in the league. So half the people make it, half the people don't, as opposed to 4 people make it and like 8 people don't. So I kind of like it this way a little bit more. I just want to let you guys know of the change because we are currently sitting at 2nd place. So we want to try and hold this position as much as possible. We are currently on our best win streak ever. This is my best win streak I've ever had in Draft League. So basically, that's the rundown of the rest of the season, is to try and hold 2nd place or get 1st place. You never know. But anyway, we're going to move on to the team. Thriller basically has made transactions with Jed and Lord of the Acorn, so he has a lot of mons we have faced before, and he made like a lot of high tier changes, not like little like tier 5 changes. He has Noivern on his team now, so like we have to go up against a Noivern again. But anyway, that is it for the breakdown of that, and we're going to go into his team. Okay, so Thriller's team this week consists of Noivern, Metagross Emus, Toxicroak Emus, Entei, Comfey, Swampert, Leavanny, that is straight up Naruto running to victory, Frostlass, Liepard, and Electrode. Now what I expect him to bring consists of Noivern, Metagross, Toxicroak, Entei, Swampert, and Leavanny. He could drop Leavanny for basically anything on this team because the rest of the other 4 mons, being Comfey, Frostlass, Liepard, and Electrode, they could do some niche things in this matchup, like set up spikes. Frostlass can set up spikes, Liepard's got Prankster, Electrode can Volt Switch around my team, which is all really kind of annoying, but I can deal with it pretty effectively, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. But they could come. The main problem with this team that I had a hard time approaching was that he's got 3 physical wall breakers in Metagross, Toxicroak, and Entei, in which 2 of them get Z moves and 1 of them doesn't even need it. So I have a really bad feeling that my defense is going to be overwhelmed this week. Thus, I have to focus on my offense to beat his team this week. And my offense is just kind of okay against this team. It's not great. It's not bad, but it's not like that great because my speed tiers are a little bit slower overall in the general sense of things. So I have to deal with a few mons. I'm forced to deal with a few mons defensively, like Entei, for example. The only offensive mon faster on my team is Galvantula and Sneasel. Sneasel's not doing anything to Entei. And Galvantula needs some chip on it because Galvantula is not OHKOing it. So you get the gist. It's kind of hard to break down his team offensively when they're faster, and switching into them is already hard enough because there's 3 of them. So that'll be a little bit of a problem. But I did see 2 directions building. Well, like I had 2 directions I could go with my own team. And I'm not going to explain one, but the other one I'm going to break down a little bit more when I break down my own team. So just make sure to look out for that. And lastly, luckily some mons on his team weren't some problems. Again, to reiterate, the niche mons that could come that I don't see coming aren't that big of a deal. They could do a few extra things. So luckily, I kind of have a general idea of what he's going to bring. Like those top 6 I mentioned are probably going to be the 6 he brings, and anything else is just better for me. But that is basically going to be his team. The team I'm rocking out with this week consists of Empoleon, Roserade, Galvantula, Mesprit, Licky, and Rhydon. So, as I just mentioned, the first mon I'm bringing on the team this week is going to be Empoleon. Empoleon is rocking out with max HP, max but def, with a calm nature, fully specially defensive, with the leftovers, moves being Stealth Rocket, Defog, Scald, and Flash Cannon. Originally I had Ice Beam on the set over Scald because I didn't think it would be necessary, but then I realized Metagross would completely hardwall me out, Entei would hardwall me out, and I didn't really want that. So I had Ice Beam just for Noivern, and I can still deal with Noivern with like Flash Cannon and Rocks up, so it's not that big of a deal overall. So I decided to take Ice Beam off so I can just hit those mons at least if I need to. Empoleon's only here for 3 mons, and that is Comfey, Noivern, and the Frostlass, because I can switch into all 3 of them very easily and deal with them very effectively, even though I don't really do much everything else on his team. And since I'm more specially defensive, Metagross is going to be hitting insanely hard still with like Thunder Punch and Earthquake. I'm not really switching to that, but I can at least stay in and Scald it if I feel like it. But basically, it's really important for these 3 mons because if Empoleon goes down, those 3 mons become a lot more big of a problem than they should be. So that's basically what Empoleon's here for. Rocks are very important for this team this week because he's got a big rock weakness. And Defog is just in case he hazard stacks me. I don't really see myself clicking Defog in this game. But that is Empoleon. Our second mon is going to be Roserade. Roserade is rocking out with the Expert Belt, max special attack, 216 speed with a timid nature, moves being Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, HP Ground, and Spikes. I originally had like a 4 moves, but I put Spikes on there because I thought hazard stacking him would be pretty nice. That's why I don't really want to defog too much because I get rid of my own hazards. But he's got Noivern. Noivern switches into Roserade pretty easily, so if rocks are up, that helps me out, and I predict that I can get a Spike up, and it makes my life even easier. HP Ground hits Toxicroak and Metagross for insanely hard damage, especially with Technician and the Expert Belt. So I straight up nukes Toxicroak, and I think it does like 80% of Metagross or 90%. It just misses out, so I need a little bit of chip on that. But Roserade is my main breaker just because it is a little bit faster than Toxicroak. It's faster than Metagross. Comfey is not a problem. This is another easy way to deal with Comfey because it just doesn't do anything back to me. Swampert. Roserade is definitely the offensive mon of the week because it's going to be hitting a lot of things really hard, and he's going to have a really hard time switching into it if rocks are up. So that is Roserade. Our third mon of the week is Galvantula. Galvantula is rocking out with the Magnet. Moves being Volt Switch, Bug Buzz, Energy Ball, and HP Ice, max special attack, and 240 speed with a timid nature. This outspeeds Liepard, and Liepard cannot T-Wave me because I'm an electric type, so it's not really a big deal. I do not have webs because I don't really need webs on the team this week. I don't have Thunder, which is kind of a weird thing. I had HP Ice over it because I did more than Noivern, and if I'm at full health and Noivern's a problem, I can stay in on Noivern and tank any one hit, unless it's Specs or Life Orb, if it's non-boosting, basically. And HP Ice does 80 to 90 to it, so I decided to do that in the end. And since I don't have Thunder, I can go with Under, so I don't have to worry about any berries. Energy Ball for Swampert, Bug Buzz just is really good against this team, and Volt Switch to Volt Spam against this team. That's what Galvantula does a lot. That's going to be a Galvantula. The reason I do not have webs of my own is because of this next mon. We have Mesprit. Mesprit is rocking out with max HP, max defense with a relaxed nature, the Rocky Helmet, moves being Trick Room, Psychic, U-Turn, and Knockoff. Yes, this is a semi-Trick Room team. I'm not really good with Trick Room, and I don't really like using it. It's a fun strategy, but I'm not really good with it. That's why I'm kind of skeptical about this. And the reason I don't mind webs on my side of the field is because of Trick Room right here. I can set up Mesprit, I can U-Turn out, knock off things if Metagross wants to come in. Psychic is a good stab against this team because he doesn't have a Dark type. Last time we brought Mesprit was the time we lost, so this is the second time we're bringing Mesprit this week, so hopefully we don't lose. But Mesprit's just going to be a defensive bulky pivot that sets up Trick Room for my last two mons, and speaking of those last two mons, they are going to be Licky Licky to start off with. Licky Licky is another max physically defensive mon that is also relaxed natured, with the leftovers and moves being Wish, Protect, Earthquake, and Ice Punch. This switches into Metagross pretty well. If Mesprit's already down, this switches into Noivern to an extent, and it also switches into Entei unless it's Banded, because Banded Entei you don't switch into. Earthquake is really good against his team because again his team doesn't really like his team's really like Edge Quake weak, so I kind of took advantage of that. And Ice Punch for the rest of the mons wasn't really a big deal. If I'm in Trick Room, then I have to outspeed basically everything, so it's free hits, and his reliable recovery is not that good whatsoever. He's got Russo, Noivern, and Comfey. So breaking down his team is not going to be too hard as long as he doesn't blow a hole through my team early on. And that's kind of what Licky Licky's job is, just to tank hits and just, hit stuff back. And then finally we have Rhydon is our win con of the week, believe it or not. It is rocking out with max attack, max HP with a Brave Nature with the Eviolite, moves being Curse, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Ice Punch. The only reason I didn't run like Life Orb is because he has a decent amount of priority on his team. He's got Bullet Punch on Metagross, he's got Vacuum Wave on Toxicroak and Bullet Punch on Toxicroak as well. He's got Comfey with Giga Drain, which I'm not staying in on regardless. So he's got a lot of options to still break down my Rhydon even in Trick Room. So I decided I want the Eviolite just so I can tank those hits. And I'm still hitting just basically as hard without the Life Orb or whatever. But again, Edgequake just runs through his team, and Ice Punch for the Noivern, because I don't want to miss a Rock Slide on a Noivern if I don't need to. Curse is just there just to have it. I didn't really need a fourth move, to be honest, but Rhydon just runs through this team. I still have a decent amount of bulk again for the because I'm in Trick Room, and I do kind of need to switch into Entei because this is my only really good switch into Entei. I can't switch in once with Licky Licky and Mesprit, but Rhydon is a very consistent switch in, so if I don't think Rhydon's the way to go, it's probably going to be a switch into Entei. But again, it just runs through team offensively. I just need Trick Room up. So that is kind of the plan and the route I kind of went. It was more of a fun thing. I was hoping to see if it would work or not because, again, I'm not great with Trick Room. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to head over to Pokemon Showdown now, and we're going to watch the battle. Alright, we are here on Pokemon Showdown, and he did not bring the Leavanny, but he did bring the Comfey, so I am realizing that Hazards plus Roserade looks a lot better in this game as opposed to the Trick Room Rhydon I have, but it is still an option regardless, and I don't have that mindset right away, so, but regardless for both strategies, I do need to get Rock Slip, so I am going to lead off with my Empoleon just to get him up, as you're going to see here he leads off with the Entei. I don't think he's going to risk me living a fire move and scalding him, so I'm just going to throw up rocks, as luckily he does not risk that, and I'm just going to get my rocks up for free. Swampert comes in, so basically he's probably going to get his rocks up on his own as I go out into the Mesprit, as he does get up his rocks now. I can click Knockoff now because it covers the Metagross switch in as well as Swampert's leftovers, as Metagross does come in, and I do click Knockoff, and it does 23%, but I don't actually knock off anything, so this is a Z-move Metagross, so I go into Licky Licky to tank this hit, and he just goes for Meteor Mash, and it only does 30%, so it's not hitting crazy hard. It's like just under a 3 code depending on rolls. And my computer keeps freezing, so I apologize if my commentary is a little bit off. But I'm going to go for Wish first, just so I can't like get bobbed by Z-move at any point. So I'm going to click Protect here, just to make sure he doesn't go for it. He goes for Meteor Mash again. Get back up to a nice 96% after the leftovers. So now I can fire off an Earthquake and start doing damage to this Metagross. That is like his third Meteor Mash he's hit, and he has not gotten an attack boost. So a little bit unfortunate, but I think it's only like a 10% chance. It's kind of just not a big deal. As this time I go for Protect, I don't really feel like Wish protecting at this point, so at least some lefties recovery isn't that bad, and protecting isn't as a no drawback play essentially, because Metagross doesn't get any boosting moves except agility, I think, so not a big deal. Now I'm going to click Earthquake and do more chip. He does live, unfortunately, and now I am in range of a Z move, so I am going to have to Protect again just to sky out for it. So that's what I end up doing here, as Metagross does bust out the Z move this turn, and it is going to be the Corkscrew Crash. And I am going to live it, and it does not put me in range of another Meteor Mash. And at this point, if he had a fighting move, he would have went for it, so I don't think he has one. He goes for the Zen Headbutt and goes for the flinch, but he does not get it, and this Metagross goes down. So that was a little bit of a silly portion of the battle. Licky Licky is a little bit low now, but Metagross is gone, and I don't really need Licky Licky for too much. It would have been nice for Noivern in the back, but I still have Empoleon and Mesprit. So I'm going to let this go down, but first I'm going to go for Protect, because if this is choice, it does tell me what he's locked into. He does click Sacred Fire, so... if he's Jolly and not boosting, I do have a chance to live this, but I doubt it. He's probably adamant. It wasn't in my favor, so I'm going to go on a Rhydon, and this turn is pretty big because I'm going to click Earthquake, as this Entei reveals to have the Solar Beam, and it's Power Herb. You're going to see here, we live the hit. It did 88% to us, and I'm going to be able to knock out this Entei with Earthquake. This is big because if I would have died there, because it was like a 50-50 roll, I would have to go on out to Gal, Volt Switch out, Mesprit would have tanked a bunch of damage, and then Gal would have came back in and Volt Switch again. So my Galv and Mesprit would have taken so much damage. But at this point now, he uses Vacuum Wave on my Rhydon, so if this is like Scarf for whatever reason, it's locked into it. So I'm going to go on a Roserade, and I can just HP ground this thing to Oblivion. If Noivern wants to come in, it can tank the rocks, but it doesn't. Toxic just drops. So Roserade's looking really good at this point, just Noivern not to be careful of. But I do have a full health Empoleon in the back. He goes on the Swampert, which is a little bit weird, as I click Giga Drain, and he's actually Rindo Berry. So that caught me off guard a bit, as he's going to fire off an Ice Punch, and it's going to do a crap ton of damage to my Roserade. But it's okay, I can live it. I'm just going to click Giga Drain again. He doesn't switch out to Noivern, so I get more health back, so it's good for me. Swampert's going to go down, and things are looking really upwards right now. He goes on the Comfey now, which is even weird. I'm just like, okay, what do you have for me? He Calm Minds up. He's faster, and I go for Sludge Bomb, and he's Kevia Berry. So he had Kevia Berry Comfey and Rindo Berry Swampert. He's going to be able to knock me out with HP Fire because it's at +1, but this is fine. I have a full health Empoleon in the back, and at this point, as long as he doesn't have Synthesis and doesn't completely stall me out, I think I'll be alright. He does have Giga Drain, so I don't think that last move is going to be Synthesis. It should be Draining Kiss, as I'm going to click Flash Cannon. I do guess with Death Drop, but because he does not have Synthesis, I don't think that really matters too much. If he did, then it probably did, but Anyway, I'm going to knock out this Comfey with another Flash Cannon. At this point, it is basically over as long as Noivern doesn't get insane, like, lucky with, like, Focus Blast and, like, Hurricane hits. Like, it's possible. Noivern can still bring this back, but I don't think it's going to be happening. As I'm going to fire off a Flash Cannon. He does fire off a Hurricane. It does basically nothing. And if I do a Flash Cannon, I do guess with that job just to put the nail in the coffin. He could have probably roosted up, but I would have gotten it at some point, I think. As he does miss the Hurricane, and I'm going to be able to knock this out with Flash Cannon. But again, that live was really big because I had Galv and the Mesprit in the back still, but they would have been really hurt if Entei was still alive, if Rhydon would have died there. So Empoleon was basically my last saving grace there. But anyway, GG to Thriller. It sucks I was not able to use the Trick Room with Rhydon effectively, but because Comfey came, I don't think it would have been the smartest thing anyway, because priority Giga Drain would have nuked me anyway. So that's kind of sucks, but maybe we'll be able to use it next time. Rindu Berry on Swampert and Kebia Berry on Comfey really did throw me off guard a bit, and it did almost work out. I will keep that in mind if Thriller does end up making playoffs and we end up facing. I'll keep a little mental note that that's what he used to prep for last time. And then finally, big props to Thriller for bringing Power Herb Entei. That is some greatest tech I've seen, I think, this entire season. That was, like, effective. It just sucks he didn't get the roll there, because it would have been huge if he did get the roll. And speaking of Thriller, make sure to go check out his YouTube in the description below. I will put it down there, and check out his content and everything else as well. We are going to move up to a 7-1 record, which is absolutely insane. This is easily my best win streak in any league. It was 5, and now it's 7 because we won 7 games in a row. And I'm basically pretty sure we've clinched playoffs. If not, we're pretty damn close to it. So we'll probably get it next week. Next week we face off against Lou, coach of the Hellbent Ferrets. They're not having the greatest season, but I know they're still a good battler regardless. We did battle them in the APM regular season. We did able to beat them. They had a Mega Mawile last time. I'm not sure what their team is this time, but we'll figure that out for next week. Thank you guys for watching so much. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.